Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman is touring the Gulf this week ahead of the annual Gulf Cooperation Council Summit set to take place later this month. Dr. Marwa Maziad is with us from Cairo tonight. Good evening to you.
Good evening.
So, Marwa, we see a lot of diplomatic commotion in the Middle East now. What is the power struggle? What's happening?
What is the struggle you're saying?
Yeah, power struggle. I'm seeing Turkey, Iran, Israel, UAE. Everybody's meeting everybody. What's going on?
Yeah, well, this is the after effect of a power struggle that started back in 2011 and 12 around the Arab uprisings, where Turkey and Qatar took a side of supporting pan-Islamists in their various formations, the Muslim Brotherhood, other more violent groups, and also leaning towards Iran. And in that way, they antagonized another big country like Egypt, who sided with UAE. So you have Turkey, Qatar, and Egypt, UAE. And both of them kind of competed over where Saudi Arabia would go. Eventually, Saudi Arabia went on the Egypt, UAE side, and Bahrain came along. That was the situation between 2011 and 12 up until 14, where there was a rift in the Gulf Cooperation Council around the Muslim Brotherhood, around Qatar siding with Turkey. And that rift was somehow mended. And then the bigger rift in 2017, where the Arab Quartet of Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and UAE really cut ties with Qatar. Fast forward from 2017, 3 years and a half later, there was Al-Ula summit where all these countries, the Gulf countries, came together and said enough is enough in terms of this rift. Qatar should actually withdraw a little bit of its support from the Islamists and Turkey and start to veer towards the rest of the Gulf Cooperation Council, Saudi Arabia and UAE in particular. And even Turkey started to tag along after it realized that its support for pan-Islamists is no longer going to hold. In the meantime, Israel also was able to mend a lot of, establish new relations with UAE and even and Bahrain, but even closer relations with Saudi Arabia, and warming its own relations that existed with Egypt and Jordan. So fast forward after a decade of this pan-Islamist versus a more secularizing and militarized countries, the latter actually somehow outlasted this initial version. And that's why you see today that Saudi Arabia and the Gulf Cooperation Council are trying to hold their regular summits, and the prince is welcome throughout this tour in the Gulf countries.
Right. So the Saudis and the Iranians are competing now for influence?
I think, as I said, more like the Saudis were even competing with the Sunni version of Islamists a la Muslim Brotherhood, all while also competing with the Iranian Shia version that is exporting its revolutionary style, which in Lebanon, in Yemen, Iran, that is. So now I would say that Iran itself is at the crossroad. We really don't know how this will play out. But Saudi Arabia seems way stronger because it has a lot of partners. First of all, the United States, of course, and also UAE, Egypt, even that side has Israel on their side. And even Turkey is kind of backpedaling and changing course because Erdogan himself is threatened currently. So in a sense, I would say all this camp is stronger vis-a-vis the idea of Iran exporting militancy and revolutionized Islamism. So we're yet to see, but I would say that the rivalry between Iran and Saudi Arabia is veering a little bit towards the Saudi Arabian camp, I would say.